Hey everybody. I want to apologize for how off the color of my screen is, or camera or whatever. I look really orange right now, but I promise I'm not this orange in real life. Anyway, this is what I look like a year and 6 months on testosterone, which has flown by really fast, faster than I ever thought it would. Let's see, a couple of things. Physical changes have all completely flattened out. I really don't expect to see anything there, except maybe slight changes in body fat and body hair, but those will keep going probably until I die. Yeah, but they're not going to be as obvious as they were within the first year. Uh, with that said, sorry, I have an itchy face. With that said, damn, this camera looks orange. Anyway, with that said, I have been working out on a pretty regular basis. I think, my first year on testosterone, I really wanted to, like, get a gym membership and get super fit and whatever, but it didn't happen. Uh, but now, I have a gym membership, and I've been working out, and it's really easy to gain a ton of muscle really fast. But it's also really easy to have that muscle turn into fat really fast if I don't keep working out. I really want to fix this camera, so just bear with me. I'm going to try a couple things here. Hey, that seems to work. A little bit. Anyway, yeah, facial hair is pretty thick. I have to shave, like, every day and kind of, like, keep this dude bro chin strap that I have, because I can only grow this dude bro chin strap, and it grows really thick and really fast, and the rest just stays patchy. I tried growing out a beard for a while, and it didn't work. It just made me look really unkempt and kind of like I never ever took a razor to my face in a million years, and not in a good way. So maybe I'll try it again in a couple of months, see how hairy I am then. I think I'm probably gonna try and get top surgery in the spring of 2013 if the world hasn't ended like the Mayans predicted by then. I'm looking at a top surgeon in Richardson, Texas, which is kind of the Dallas Plano area. Um, my insurance doesn't cover anything transgender related, so that means top surgery is out of the question as far as getting them to cover that. However, they will cover 80% of mastectomy. So I've been in contact with this doctor, and we're trying to figure out if he can medically bill it and code it as that with my insurance. And if that's the case, then I'll only have to pay about $600 out of pocket for top surgery, which would be really freaking amazing. So that's a little bit ways off, but I'm really excited about that and trying to get everything set up, get all the logistics figured out. I have family that lives up there, so that was partially why the reason that I chose it instead of going to, like, Garamoni in Florida, because I'm up to my eyeballs in school debt, and so, like, the last thing that I really need to factor in into top surgery funds would be traveling, like airfare and hotel, food, all of that stuff, and then also have to pay for, like, a friend or my mom to come with me. So that's kind of out of the question. And since we have family in Dallas, I can just easily stay with them a couple days or like 1 or 2 weeks if I need to do that. What else? Other than that, I'm just pretty happy and going with the flow in life. I have a really bad summer tan. Look, can you tell where it, like, starts and stops? It's really awful. I've been trying to wear tank tops on my days off and just, like, sit in the sun and even it out, and it doesn't happen. Instead, the dark part just gets darker, and the light part just stays light. I don't know what's going on. I really just like making that face at people. Anyway, so I've been thinking about a couple of things past couple of months, maybe even longer about that, and one of the things I've been thinking about is how I don't identify with the queer community anymore. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't, and I think one of the main ones is as I've transitioned over the past year and a half, and I am more and more comfortable being read and just regarded as male without a differentiation there. Unless you're like sleeping with me or know me personally, you don't know that I'm trans. And that's kind of the way that I like it. I rarely out myself to anyone. I'll strategically out myself to people to make a point if they're being a douchebag and saying something really fucked up or sexist. But it's really rare that that happens because I just don't see the need to out myself. With that said, I am pretty binary identified these days. I date and am romantically attracted to women and have a history of dating just cisgender females. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't ever date a trans woman. I've just never actually have come across one that I know of that we've clicked enough for them to tell me that they're trans. So yeah, I guess I'm just pretty like a heterosexual male, and I feel like a lot of the queer community, especially people who identify under the transgender umbrella, so to speak, within the queer community, sort of look down on binary identified transmasculine folks, specifically trans men. I've come to a point where I don't see my transition as something that is this big social to-do, like breaking down gender roles and stereotypes and totally like fighting the patriarchy. I'm just existing and I'm living and I'm doing all of the things that I never thought I could do, that I never gave myself the chance to do because I was either too shy to do or was just so ridden with dysphoria that I never even thought would be possible. So I'm enjoying my life as male. I view myself as male and really nothing else. So yeah, I guess for a split second when I came to that conclusion about myself, it was a little bit sad to sort of have to leave the queer community behind, but at the same time, I feel like I don't fit in there anymore. And I'm also disappointed when it comes to dating within the queer community because I have just come across people who are interested in dating me specifically because I'm trans, and I feel like people do it because they're like, oh, like I get queer street creds for dating a trans person. I almost said crans person, but I was thinking about how I really want cranberry juice. Anyway, a crans person, a cranberry person. Yeah, so I feel like people use it to kind of garnish queer street cred, and I'm not about that. So my dating scene, I feel like it's shifting from a queer pool to cisgender heterosexual pool. And honestly, it's been met by a lot of disrespect from friends that I have, acquaintances who are certainly like, oh my god, you're ditching the queer community? Like, I'm not necessarily ditching the queer community. It just so happens that this is where I ended up. It just doesn't mean that I'm going to turn into a huge queerphobe or homophobe or, transphobe. Just sort of let me live my life. And this also doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out there and fight for your rights with you. I will do that. I will be right next to you at every single march, at every single parade. I'm just not going to out myself as trans. I can't remember the last time I came out to someone that wasn't romantically interested in me, or that I wasn't romantically interested in. We just had like a huge turnaround at work, so like a lot of people left or got fired, and we have a lot of new people working, and none of them know that I'm trans, and I don't see any reason to come out to them. Just at this point in my life where I'm comfortable living my life, being who I am, and nobody needs to know except doctors. If you and I are fucking, if you and I are gonna potentially date, and all of my close friends. Other than that, nobody needs to know. It's none of their business. Even though it's on YouTube for all the world to see, but I really doubt any of my coworkers are going to be looking this shit up. Yeah, so I do identify as a binary trans man, and it's kind of lonely doing so, only because everything that I hear from the queer community is, oh my god, that's so disgusting, how can you do it, like you're a traitor. And it's really hard to relate to cisgender people and cisgender community for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I feel a lot more comfortable in the cisgender community, and I feel like I'm being judged and scrutinized in the queer community. So this is my sort of coming out and saying that I don't really identify with the queer community anymore. That isn't to say that, like, the friends that I have who identify as queer, that, like, I hate them or that I don't want to hang out with them. I just mean that, like, I don't walk around labeling myself as queer, and I don't go and seek out these spaces like I used to. Right now, I'm just more concerned with things like job security and having insurance and getting surgery, and where am I going to be 10 years from now? What the fuck am I going to eat for dinner tonight? Like, being trans isn't on the forefront of my mind like it constantly was a year ago. And that's just been, for me, that's been the beauty of transitioning, is having to not fucking worry about my gender all the time, having to not deal with dysphoria. I mean, I still do deal with dysphoria, but it's nowhere near on the scale as it was when I was pre-T. And I just am sort of looking for other guys, other trans guys, to relate to as far as that goes, because I feel like I can't relate to trans guys who identify as queer. Like, I don't fit into that box. And with that said, like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay. I like to think that I have a queer history, because it's really hard for me to deny that I was not part of a lesbian community, even though I never was comfortable identifying as a lesbian. I was involved in that community, and I dated a lot of women from that community, so I have a very queer past, but my present, and perhaps, like, even my future, isn't going to be invested in those same social circles, and it isn't going to be so immersed in those issues. And the funny thing is like, I thought that when I got on testosterone, queer issues and trans issues were always going to be on the forefront of my mind. But as a person of color, specifically as someone who identifies as Chicano, it's been the opposite. Those trans and queer issues are now in the back of my mind, and what I'm noticing a lot are racial issues, because now I'm like a brown guy, right? Like, everyone is scared of me. Like, oh my god, brown masculinity is so fucking awful. So I'm dealing a lot with that. Like, I get called boy a lot by old white people at work, who would never do that to anybody else if they were my age and white. I notice issues of racism and classism a lot more than I did pre-T, and I notice when things are directed towards me. I notice when, you know, like, women are afraid of me, and I notice when white people are being really fucking condescending to me. I know when people are saying classist things to kind of mess with me. So those are the things that I'm dealing with now, which is probably why I also don't feel connections with the queer community, is because it's so fucking white. Like, it's just saturated with white people. You can look at all the other trans men here on YouTube, and 90% of them are gonna be white. So yeah, like, I guess just kind of like growing and changing in different ways. and that's where I'm at right now. Growing pains from that. Yeah, I do feel sad leaving behind a queer community, but at the same time, if it's not something that I don't identify with anymore, and if it's not something that I'm experiencing growth from anymore, which to me is the most important thing, then why do I want to stick around in there? Yeah, so year and a half on testosterone, really fucking exciting. Have baby muscles from working out with like the past month on a regular basis. Oh, if anybody has good tips on building muscle without having to ingest protein bars, because I think they're fucking disgusting, and I work at a health food store and have tried almost every single fucking protein bar that we sell, and they all taste crappy, and I hate them. And that doesn't involve eating a ton of meat and or cheese. Get at me, because I'm looking to build muscle, but obviously you need protein to keep doing that, and I don't want to eat a steak a day, and I also don't want to keep downing protein bars, and I don't want to spend $60 on protein powder. I've just been snacking on like nuts and seeds a lot throughout the day. Yep, so that's about it. I don't know why my camera's being so weird. I promise you I'm not this tan. Well, part of my body is, but most of my body is not this orange-brown color. I really need a haircut, and maybe the next time I make a video I will have a decent haircut. With that said, if you have any questions, if you're like a trans guy in Texas and you have any questions or want some like resources, it could be about anything, like name change process, doctors, top surgeons, where to find a job that's trans friendly in Texas, legal practices, etc. Feel free to message me here on YouTube, and I'll get back to you within a short amount of time, hopefully, and I'll answer those questions to the best of my ability. And if I can't find an answer to them, like there's a lot of legal stuff that is really shady in Texas. Like I've heard some trans guys say that you can get your gender marker on your license changed, and I've heard some people say only in certain counties, and I've heard some people say that doesn't exist at all. But we'll try to figure it out together. I have some friends who are lawyers, so if there's anybody who knows or who could help you out, like it'll be them. We'll do it together. Yeah. Hope everyone out there is doing good, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.